Okay, so in the last class we started with this framework which we are calling as modular framework. Why we are calling it as modular framework? Because we are dividing everything into modules. Okay, so tomorrow probably I'll design the proper flow also. Before that I have to complete few of the Java classes, so I'll complete that first. Okay, so first thing which we did was we separated out all the Selenium methods, and to follow proper OOPS concepts also I created a folder, or you can say package, with name common libs interface. Okay, in this interfaces I created these many interfaces, first of all I created a driver interface in which I'm putting all the methods which are related to browser, like open browser, close all browser, set page load timeout, set element detection timeout, get title, page source, current URL, navigate to, all the navigate methods. So all these methods are specific to browser. You don't need to find any web element in this case. They are directly applied on the browser, right? That's why I created them or separated them out. Okay, then we created one of the Java class which implements this particular interface. So here you can say this common driver implements iDriver. Okay, and whatever method we wrote here, the implementation is here. Okay, so we created first of all a instance of WebDriver, then we set the page load timeout, element detection timeout. We created two private variables. In the constructor we defined the default values, and we also discussed that what is the benefit of defining the default value. Then in the constructor only I'm initializing my browser, like which browser you want to open. So here I've set the browser type, then based on that we are either calling Chrome or Firefox. If none of the matches, then we are simply throwing an exception. Okay, so you can simply add whatever other browser you want, like Internet Explorer, Safari, Opera Mini, and so on. Okay, next is we wrote a method called open browser. This method was written to navigate to a particular URL. If the name is confusing, you can change this name from open browser to invoke browser, or navigate to a URL, something like that. Okay, in this particular method what we are doing is, first of all, few checks as discussed earlier, that whenever you are using some string, put a trim check and empty check. Okay, so here I put a trim check and here I put an empty check. Okay, so trim is to remove white spaces, and why it is important, because most of the time we copy paste values, and while copy pasting sometimes some extra white spaces are added from the last. So it's a good practice to always trim a string, so that unwanted white spaces can be removed. Okay, after that next is, if URL is empty, like if somebody is simply passing empty values, that is not a valid URL. So we are just changing our URL to about colon blank. And after that few of the settings we are doing, like deleting all cookies, page load timeout, implicit wait we are setting. Okay, and one thing which was left you can add there here, that is maximizing the browser. So I can simply say driver uh, driver dot manage dot window dot maximize. Okay, then other methods we have written is like close browser, close all browsers. So we have discussed them many a times. Set page load timeout, then element detection timeout, then get title, get page source, get current URL, navigate to URL, navigate, refresh, back, forward. So whatever methods we mentioned in the driver class, we wrote that. One of the more method which we added is WebDriver, public WebDriver get driver. So this is one method to get the instance of the browser. Say for example, there are methods which are not listed down here and you still need the access of this browser outside, then you can get that access through this method. So what this method is returning, it is returning WebDriver. What is this? It's a getter to get the value of, or get the instance of browser. Okay, after that I created other interfaces. Like one of the interface we created was web element. So where it is, yeah, web element control. So in this I brought the methods which are common to all the web elements, because click operation you can perform on a button, on a link, and so on. Okay, like this get text, you can get text from a link, you can get text from some button, anything like a paragraph, a heading, or whatever is there on an HTML page, you can get text from there. So I wrote this method. Then to get certain attributes from a to get attributes from some of the web elements, get attribute method is used. One of the example is to get the URL from a link. Another example is to get size of a text box and so on. So this can be used like this. We have get CSS value. So this is to get the CSS value like color of a text or any other CSS related property. Then we have written three of the methods which are basically the validation methods, like is enabled, element enabled, is visible, and is selected. So these are three validations which we can put, and all these methods are common to uh, all the web elements. That's why we have kept in web element control. Now coming to specific web element, like we have we have text box. So in text box I have written only two methods, one to set text and other to clear text. Okay, let's first see the class which implements this iWeb element controls. That was also complete in the last class. So here we have just written the implementation part. We are already passing the web elements. So one is click. Click is a method which we are passing here, which we are click is a method which we are calling, and web element we are passing. So it will be simply element dot click. Similarly, we have get text. To get the text from a web element, we are calling this method. Again, element dot get text will be the method, and so on. Like this, we have called all the methods. So they are very simple, and you have already seen these. Okay. Next is I'll create another class. Arun, you have a question. Clear text. Yeah, clear text is a specific to text box, right? So I'll be adding a class with the name text box controls. Okay, in this I'll add the clear text method. Okay, so this method implements iTextBox. Okay, so now I need all the text box related method to be implemented. So I'll just add this here. You can write your code. So set text, where you do set text, you do set text on some web element. So we have to change here. It should be web element. Similarly, clear text also you'll do it some particular web element. So web element. Another thing, when you're setting text, you should also need what text to set, right? So I will add text to set. So here also we need to change them. It will be web element uh, element comma string and text to set. Okay, here method will be now in this particular method, like when you're calling this method set text, you need instance of browser, right? So in this case what I'm going to do is, it's very important, and Rupesh, you have asked this particular question couple of times, so pay attention here. What I'm doing is I'm creating the constructor, public type of constructor, and this constructor I'll keep as parameterized. Okay, so I'll say WebDriver and driver. Okay, and same browser I'm creating here, and I'm keeping it private, and I'll say this dot WebDriver, sorry, this dot driver is equals to driver. Okay, I'll explain this just a moment. Okay, so to set text we needed the browser instance, right? We need where to set the text. I guess no, it's not required because we can directly do it on web element. Just a second. Yeah, it's not required actually, so I'll remove it. I'll show you once it will be required. Unnecessary will not add. Okay, so here I'm directly passing the browser instance like web element and then text to set, and here also you need element dot clear clear uh, okay, this does not require anything. Yeah, so these are the two methods which will be adding in text box control. Any questions, any doubt here? So the area where we'll require the instance of browser will I'll show you there. Currently I don't require. Okay, so one more class is done here. Let's see other classes. Okay, so one of the interface we added was action control, right? So let's quickly implement this. So here I'll create another class and I'll name it action control. This implements iAction control. Okay, and here I'll simply add unimplemented methods. Okay, now to perform all these operations we need instance of action class, right? So I'll say actions, you have to take one from org.openqa and action equal to new actions. Okay, now here we require the instance of browser. We have to pass on which you want to perform these operations, right? So here now we will be adding the instance of the browser. And how you going to do that? Here, first of all, I'll create a private variable, private WebDriver, driver, and this needs to be initialized. So initialization I'll do in my constructor. We'll keep this constructor as parameterized, and it will be this dot driver equal to driver. Okay, so the question here is why I'm doing like this. Okay, see, we need the instance of browser. Okay, so I created a private variable. Okay, if I initialize it here with, say, let's say Chrome driver or IE driver or whatever, then it will be like a new browser instance. But here we don't want a new browser instance. We want to execute these code on already existing browser, right? So that already existing browser we need to pass in the constructor, and we'll initialize this private driver with this new driver. Okay, so I'll give this as a private method, like I'll show you this with an example. But is it clear why I'm doing this? Why I'm doing this? Because I created this instance. If I initialize it here with the new browser, a new browser will invoke. I don't want a new browser. I want the same browser which I'm using in one of my class to perform this operation there. So that's why I'm passing the instance of the browser in the constructor. Okay, so here now it will be action dot drag and drop. element 1 to element 2 and done. Okay, and Rupesh, you have a question, why in text box we didn't create this? Because in text box I have direct access to the web elements. We need to perform operation on elements, right? And here I directly have the access to elements. In actions class, to initialize this action variable, I needed this driver instance. Got it? Okay. So same thing. Now here we have performed drag and drop. It will be build dot perform. Okay. Next is move to element. It will be action dot move to element. Which element? Element you're passing. Dot build dot perform. Similarly for right click also I'll do same thing. It will be action dot context click dot perform build dot perform. Okay, similar is the case with double click. So instead of context click, it will be double click. Similarly, move to element and click. So it will be move to element. Which element? Element you're passing. Dot click. Dot build. Dot perform. So all the methods which are related to action class are also done. Okay. Any questions? Any doubt in this? Is this part clear? I'll give you a demo for this properly, but I hope it is clear now. Okay, next I'll create another class. Next is drop down controls. Okay, again this class implements I drop down. So we need all the methods to be implemented here. Okay, so here also I need to create instance of select class. Uh, select equal to new select. Okay, so here also you need to pass which web element you want to consider as a drop down and which element you want to select, right? So for that I'll go to my I drop down control and here I'll change everything. Here it needs to be changed to web element comma string visible text. Okay, and here it will be value, then here it will be index, so it will be int index. Okay, then is multiple, so here you need to just pass the web element. Here to get all the option again you need to pass the web element only. Here also you need just web element, and for selected option will also need web element, right? Now come here, it will give us error, so I'll just add unimplemented methods. Okay, it has created new methods, so yeah. So here we are. Now first of all I'll create instance of select class, so it will be select equal to new select, and element is passed as a web element. and the method will be select dot select by a visible text, and visible text is this, right? Similarly, next is select via value, so it will be select via value, and value is the method. Similarly, when you have to select via index, it will be select by index, and index is the variable, right? Next is you need to check whether it allows multiple selection or not. So method will be return select dot is multiple. Okay, and here in this particular case, again it will be return select dot get all get options. This is to get all the web elements. Okay, next is select dot this is to get all selected option, right? So here I'll call get all selected options. Similarly, last method is to get the first selected method, so it will be get first selected option. So that's all in drop downs. Any questions here? Okay, uh, like this, what else is required? We need frame control, then we need window handle. Okay, so probably you can do one thing, like after the class I'll complete it and share with you all. Okay, so let's test whatever we have written till now, and we'll continue with our design patterns. Okay, so like this you have to add, so probably we can skip this part, and I'll share the complete code with you before sending this code. Okay, and let me know if you will face issue in any of the class. We can discuss that again. And for now, if you want anything to complete, let me know, I'll complete it. Any of the class you want me to complete now, or is it fine, I'll complete it later and will give you. Okay, here Ripesh, I was expecting JavaScript executor, so let's complete this JavaScript executor. Okay, where is my mouse? Yeah. So here I'll create one class and I'll name it as JavaScript executor. Okay, and it implements JavaScript executor. Okay, so the first method is execute async response, async script, and second one is execute simple script. Okay, and in the argument I'll pass. Okay, let me just check its interface also. Okay, my bad. Uh, Sorry, by mistake JavaScript executor of Selenium was there, so I'll change it to I JavaScript executor. Yeah, now it's fine. Now you'll have all the implemented methods here. Okay, first one is execute JavaScript. So here you have to simply execute the JavaScript on the browser. Okay, so I'll create instance of JavaScript executor, one from seleniumhq.org, and the variable I'll call, let's say, JS engine equal to new JavaScript executor. Okay, you need here also you need the instance of browser, because we have to tell where to execute the JavaScript, right? So here I'll create instance of my browser, so it will be WebDriver driver. You can keep it as private. Now it will be public, and JavaScript executor, and we'll keep it as parameterized. It will be WebDriver driver. Okay, and it will be this dot driver equal to driver. Here I have to initialize my JavaScript, so you can do something like this, and yeah, JavaScript executor. Okay, so what I've done is to execute this JavaScript. Okay, if you remember, we have already seen this. To execute this JavaScript on the browser, you can directly perform that operation on driver, but as discussed earlier, to give one single responsibility, what I did, I created another instance of JavaScript executor and typecasted it. This driver is an instance of WebDriver initialized with any of the browser. Okay, so all those browser also implements JavaScript. So here I am just typecasting it so that it can have one single responsibility. Now you can simply perform whatever command you want, like uh, execute sync response, and what you want to execute, script to execute. So this will perform JavaScript execution on the page. Whatever command you will pass here, that will be executed here. Okay, any doubt here? Okay, next is scroll down operation. So this scroll down operation we have already seen in our one of our scenario. Same thing I'll be writing here. Okay, so in the scroll down, this part will remain same. Okay, now one more thing, I'll create one more string variable, and I'll call it as JS command equal to string dot format. Okay, and the format is to perform scroll down operation. We have a method called window dot scroll by. Remember? If you don't remember, let me show it. uh, just press F12. Okay, I'll go to console. Here I'll simply say window dot scroll by, and in the brackets you will pass 500, let's say comma 500, and press enter. You will see that you have come down. You've come down a little, right? So this command is to execute JavaScript. Here if you'll see, I'll just change it to, let's say 1500 something, or this is X actually. You need to change Y also. C. So you can see we are at the bottom. Okay, so this is to execute the JavaScript, right? So same thing I'll pass here, string.format, and here you need two parameters. One is X coordinate and second one is Y coordinate. So I just replace X coordinate with %d, Y coordinate with %d, and here you can simply give the variable name. Okay, already discussed all these things. Now it will be JS engine dot execute script. Which script? This JS command. Okay, so that's all to execute the JavaScript, and here we have done the scroll down operation also. Is it clear? Any doubt, any questions here? Anyone, any questions here? Okay, so let's see other methods. Okay, Rupesh, you have a question. In x and y we pass value, then it will scroll to particular location. Yes, whatever value you'll pass, let's say 100 by 100. So from wherever you'll call this scroll down, there you'll pass this index, x coordinate and y coordinate. These are coordinates of the screen. Okay, Rupesh, you have a question. Then for scroll down to end, we have another method. What is the, like, you're asking or you're telling that there is a method for that? Okay, you are asking. So what you can do is there are a couple of ways to scroll down to till end. Like let's say I am here and I want to scroll down till last. Okay, so what you can do is let me show. Let's say you are at top and you want to go to down. So the way is uh, get the coordinates of last element you see on this page. See here, copyright Guru 99 2017. This is the last element. Okay, so get the like here we can use class name or we can write it six path. So identify the last web element on this page and get its coordinate. After getting its coordinate, you can call this method to reach to last. Okay, is it clear? So this is how you can get or you can scroll down a page till last. Okay, so there are two more methods which are written left. One is execute JavaScript with return value. Sometimes some of the JavaScripts return certain string values. So to get that value, I'm calling this method. So it's very simple. Uh, Above I call this. Let me just copy paste. Okay, so this part will remain same. The things which will change is here the method will be execute script with return value, or let me write it here with uh, just a second. Execute script it's not showing. uh, just a second. It's not showing that option. There is a method called JavaScript execute execute script with return value. So I'm not sure why it is not working here. Now why it is coming? Okay, my bad. I've changed somewhere else. Okay, so I am not sure why it is not coming. Maybe it has been changed in the latest version, but I'm using still 2.53. Here I'm using 2.53.1. Okay, I got it. It is this method only. Here to string. Yeah, this is the method. My bad. So this is the method to execute. Now what it is saying, implements common. Okay, so this is the method only. Execute script is the only method. If it is returning something, we'll convert it into string, and that is what will be returned. Okay. Any questions here? Okay. One last method is left, that is execute async JavaScript. Sometime it happens that you need to pass certain arguments, and you're not sure how many arguments are going to come. Okay. So in that case, we call this async JavaScript here. So I'll just create instance of JavaScript executor, and then method will be JS engine dot execute Java async response, whatever script you need to and arguments. So whatever arguments you'll pass, it will execute that. Okay. Now one more thing here, its return type should be void, and here also I need to change it to void. One more thing here, like sometimes in arguments can be null, like you are not passing any argument. In that case, it will be, if arguments are null, then uh, the command which will be executed will be JS engine, sorry, let me define it above. JS engine dot execute script. Okay, and script to execute, no argument. Whereas if it is having n number of arguments, then you can simply pass call this. Okay, so see here, the argument here I'm passing is object array. So you now know what is this object array. This object or array is something which can store any type of value. So this particular object array, it can store integer, string, or whatever you want. Okay, and array, if we are passing it array here, then when you are calling it, you can pass any number of arguments here. Okay, so this is how it works. Any questions here? Okay, so we are done with JavaScript executor. Also there is one error. Okay, it's gone now. Okay, rest all the classes I'll complete them and will share with you all uh, before sending the code. Okay, now now I'll start with the design patterns. Okay, okay. So does anyone know what is design pattern? Have you ever heard of this term before? Anyone? Have you heard of what is this design pattern and why they are used? Okay. Rupesh, you're saying page object model. Yeah, page object model is one type of design pattern. I was asking that, do you know what is design pattern actually? Okay, so I'll try to explain you that what is a design pattern. See, design pattern is a common term which is used uh, like which actually gives a clear-cut idea that how things should be there in the class. Okay, like by the time we were we earlier we were when we were writing the Selenium scripts, we were writing in a way we wanted, right? The web element which you wanted, you just selected it, you just kept it there, and then you were calling it, and so on. Okay, but in real projects you always follow a pattern. Okay, if you have, let's say, 5 pages, so all those 5 pages, the classes which will be created for automating those 5 pages will be written in a similar way. Okay, so they are like a standard which you follow to keep your code neat and clean, to keep your code maintainable, and to keep your code reusable. Okay, so these are certain things which are very helpful if you follow. So one of such design pattern is page object model, and that is the most famous one in for Selenium. So let's discuss about this. Now, in the previous tutorial we have learned about how to automate scenario using Selenium WebDriver. This tutorial will help you understand the page object model. It is important to write your code and automation script in a maintainable, reusable, and extendable manner. These key factors will distinguish you as a good tester. Design pattern framework defines a standard of writing code. As I was telling you, it defines the standard of writing code. They help you in maintaining reusability and readability. POM is one such pattern. Okay, POM stands for page object model. In page object model, there is one-to-one mapping between the Java classes and the pages of application under test. Okay, so if any application you're working on, it has 5 pages in it, so for each page we'll have one class file, we'll have one Java file. Okay, let us consider an example. An application under test has pages like login page, home page, etc. Okay, so we'll create one class file for each page. Like we have login, so for login I'll create one class file, for home page I'll create one class file, and so on. Okay, then like here there's a point that people often get confused between design pattern and framework. POM is a design pattern, it's not a framework. It's not a new concept, actually it's an old concept and developers are using it from long. Okay, so one of the design pattern is like this, that you will have a class file in which you will have all the web elements first, and then you will have methods. Okay, actually there are 3 ways. There is one which is not mentioned here, which first of all I'll cover that. Okay, now is it clear that why we need design pattern? To keep our code maintainable, reusable, and extendable, so that if new functionality is coming after some time later on, so that can be added easily. Okay, so I'll create one class file and I'll name it eBay pom1 style of uh, eBay pom1 style maybe. Okay, so I'll be writing on the home page of eBay. So here first of all you'll define your web elements. Okay, So here I am creating public web element. Let's say let me open the eBay site. Rupesh, you have a question. We are using this under modular framework project. Actually, what I'm doing is currently I'm teaching you whatever design pattern is possible. Like there are three different patterns. Then out of those three, we'll identify one and complete our framework using that. Okay, so like just to keep everything at one place, I created another folder with name design patterns. So it's not a part of this framework, but here I'm teaching you all the different frameworks, all the different patterns. Whatever you like, you can use in your project. Okay, is it clear? Okay, so first of all, on this eBay site, let's do the simple scenario of uh, first of all searching the search box, then selecting from a drop down and then clicking on search button, right? So uh, this has an ID gh-ac. I can copy it. Web element, I'll call it as search box. Okay, then public void next will be public web element, and here I'll keep this drop down I have to select, right? So I'll say this is the web element gh-cat. I'll name it as search drop down. Next will be search button, so public web element search button. Okay, and then I'll create a constructor, uh, eBay pom element style. Okay, and here you need the instance of browser, right? So it will be WebDriver driver, and here it will be driver. Okay, so search box is your first element. It equal to driver dot find element by dot id, and the value of id was, so I'll explain you what I'm doing. Let me just complete it first. Then search drop down equal to driver dot find element by dot id, and the id is gh-cat. Next is search button equal to driver dot find element by dot again id, and the value of id is gh-btn. So what I did here is I created a class file in which I put all the web elements whatever possible on this page. Okay, so for me I am just taking a simple example, so I just took these three web elements, but whatever will be possible on this page I'll write them out here, and then I'll create a method, a constructor in which I'll initialize all these web elements. So this particular page object model is basically like a object repository. Okay, so somebody in the last class asked me what is an object repository. So this is what an object repository is. Okay, here what we are doing is within a class I created all the web elements first and then initialize them. Okay, so I created an object repository of my page. Okay, now what is benefit of doing it? The benefit is, let's say going forward, like in real time you will be using certain web elements multiple places, right? So if something is getting changed, like if some web element is getting changed, then you don't have to go at each and every location and change it. You can change it at one single location. Okay, so this is one design pattern where you'll keep all the web elements in a particular class and initialize them in the constructor. Okay, and another thing, if multiple people are working on a sync project, then they can share this. Okay, they don't have to write, like a particular web element can be identified using ID, can be identified using XPath. One person is using ID, other is using XPath. Then it's not a good way. If 4 or 5 people are working on same project, they must follow one single standard. So this will help you in maintaining one single standard. Okay, is it clear? Is it clear, Rupesh, now? And others, any questions here? Okay, Rishabh asked this question actually, and he's not here. So this question was asked that what is object repository and how to create object repository in Selenium. So that's how you will create object repository in Selenium. Okay, object repository means collection of all the web elements. And this concept, this name of object repository came from QTP. In QTP, these web elements are known as objects, so that's why they were calling it as object repository. Here it's web element, so you can call it as web element repository or object repository, it's fine. Okay. Now when you have to use this, what you're going to do, so in my test folder I'll create one class and I'll name it demo uh, eBay form1 style. Okay, we'll keep this public static void main checked. Okay, now first of all, here I'll create instance of common driver class. So it will be common driver driver, or I can call it as common driver CMN equal to new common driver. Okay, and here I'll tell which browser to open. Say, let's say I'm saying open Chrome. Right now, this needs to be put into try catch block, so it will be try catch. Right now, is the audio not clear, guys? Can you hear me? Okay, let me reply to okay, Kumari. Sorry, Gaurav, you are able to hear, right? Fine. So I created an instance of common driver class. Now first thing will be I'll invoke the browser, so it will be common driver dot open browser. Which browser you need to which URL you need to open, http:// I'll go to ebay.in. Okay, then I have to invoke Rupesh, you're saying, are we invoking browser in similar way? Yes, we are using the common driver class of this project only. See here, the common lib, in the common libs we created a class of called common driver. In that we wrote the method of invoke browser, sorry, on open browser. So that's what I'm calling. Here I just called two statements. First one is to initialize common driver, which will actually invoke Chrome browser. Then we are opening the browser, uh, which is actually navigating me to this particular URL. You can change this name if you don't like open browser. You can call it navigate to URL. Okay. Next is after navigating to a particular URL, we need, like, we are on eBay page, right? And all the web elements which we identified are there in this particular class. So I need to create instance of this class, right? So here I'll do like this, eBay form1 style, and I'll call it as eBay homepage. equal to eBay pom1 style. Okay, and its constructor needs an argument, and that argument is instance of browser, right? So it will be driver, sorry, common driver dot get driver. So this will give me the browser instance, right? So that is what I'm passing here. So it will come here in pom1 style. Okay, so is it clear that how I'm passing the browser instance? See, this common driver is instance of common driver class. Inside that we have a driver variable. To get that, I called a method called getDriver. This was one getter we wrote there. Okay, now eBay homepage dot right, like we can call methods like uh, just a second. I need to initialize one more class. Like we need to write something, right? So sorry. Okay, so we need to write something. So for that I need instance of common text element. So it will be text box control, text box equal to new text box. Okay, so text box dot, we have a method called SetText. Which web element you will be passing? The one which is there on eBay homepage dot, the method name was search box, and what you need to pass, let's say Apple watches. Okay, so let me explain it again. I know it is getting little confusing. So what I am doing is just come here and see what you want to do. Okay, first thing I wanted to do was invoke the browser. Okay, and you know the invoking of browser part we wrote in common driver class. So what I did, I created an instance of common driver class and initialize it with Chrome, passing Chrome as an argument. So this will invoke the Chrome browser, right? Next thing I wanted was that after invoking the browser I should go to ebay.in. So what I did, I called a method called open browser. This will navigate me to the particular URL, that is ebay.in. Next I wanted was to write something in that search box. For that I needed instance of my class file which I created here. This particular class has all the web elements defined, so I initialized it. The constructor of this particular class needed WebDriver instance. So like this I passed common driver dot get driver. Okay, then to write into a text box we need instance of text box class, because writing into a text box is written here. So I created an instance of that and then called this method textbox.setText. And this next will be that I have to select something from dropdown. So again I need instance of dropdown class. So I'll create here dropdown controls, dropdown equal to new dropdown controls, and here it will be dropdown dot select via visible text. Here element I'm passing, it will be eBay homepage dot search dropdown, and what value you want to search, let's say watches. Okay, and then in the last I need to click on a method, and clicking on a method is written in web element controls. So it, sorry, web element control, and I can call it an normal element. Let's say I'll call it element equal to new web element controls. So here it will be element dot click, and which web element, eBay homepage dot search button. Okay, and you clicked on it. Okay, now Rupesh, you have a question. Basically we wrote classes for every module like text box, so it is common for all the design pattern. Yes, the classes which we have written here, I am just reusing them. Okay, I am reusing all these methods. Okay, now so we are done. Actually we have written, we have clicked on it also, and last will be to close the browser, and that will be in command driver dot close browser. So when I'll invoke this, right click, run as Java application, you can see that it has invoked the Chrome browser. Where it is? Okay, here it is. Okay, you can see that it has navigated to ebay.in. Once the page will be loaded, it will write into the text box. So you can see Apple Watches was written, from the drop down watches was selected, and then clicked on search button. So that was the scenario, and here we written like this. Okay, so this is first design pattern in which you'll keeping your web elements changes in a different class. Like here I have kept in this class, and then in one of the class I was calling them. Now benefit of having this complete structure, like just to do this thing we did so many classes, and what is the benefit now? Let's say let's talk about classes one by one. Let's say these search box, drop downs and buttons are used at multiple locations. There are some 20 scenarios which you wrote inside this. There were 20 you can say scenarios which I wrote inside this, and they are sharing the web elements. Okay, now in your application at a one particular location a web element change, or the locator of a web element change. So what you're going to do, one way is you'll go to each and every uh, web element and change that, or second way is use this pattern, and here we just have to go and change at one particular location. Rest everywhere it will be changed automatically. This is one benefit which we'll get while creating this kind of object repository. Okay, another benefit, when multiple people are working on a single project, then uh, everybody don't have to find out the web element separately. They can share these web elements. Okay, let's say uh, there are two people who are working on this on this page, and one of the person has already identified the web elements, then other has to just use them. He does not have to waste time in identifying web elements again. Okay, so this is one of the benefit. Any questions in this particular part? Okay, Rupesh, you're saying you have asked question, what is the difference between framework and design pattern? See, this way of writing a class file, whatever you see here, this is design pattern. Framework is complete thing. Design pattern is a subset of this framework. Okay, This particular thing, like writing an object repository, you could have done in other way also, like here I just created an object repository in my main method. In conventional way, you could have called all the methods. That was also possible, right? But uh, uh, but as we were using the framework, so we take use of that also. We used separated out methods, and then we are writing. So if you say what is the difference is design pattern is just one way of designing a class file, whereas framework is an overall structure which makes your project maintainable, reusable, extendable, and easy to use, easy to implement, and so on, which gives you report also, which gives you log files also, and so on. Okay, did you get an idea what exactly it is? Yes. So you asked this question also in the WhatsApp group that when you said that modular framework, there is no such type of modular framework. So don't say that it's a standard framework. Say it's a customized from framework. We designed it because we wanted our project to be in this way. We thought it like we find it extendable. We find it that this made many of our things very easy, and so on. Okay, so again I'll say that Rupesh has asked this question, that his interviewer was asking that there is no such framework called modular framework. We have keyword driven framework, we have hybrid driven framework. He's theoretically might be right, because if you'll go and search everywhere, you'll find standard framework as this only: keyword driven, hybrid driven, data driven. But that's not the case. In real projects, nobody is actually using those frameworks. In real time, people are using what I'm teaching you now. Okay, so just tell them we have made our customized framework. You want to call it hybrid, call it hybrid. Okay, you want to justify that why I'm calling it hybrid, I'll make you justify it. Okay, just wait for some time, I'll make you justify that it's a hybrid driven framework. Okay, have knowledge of all, but when you have to tell which what kind of framework your project has, then just mention this one. Okay, any questions here? Anyone, any questions in this design pattern? Okay, so let's come to next design pattern, that is actually this form one is more of page object, sorry, object repository. I'll go to next design pattern, and that's actually a standard page object model. So I'll call it eBay form 2 style. Yes, Jarun, what is your question? Okay, you have a question on get driver. See, what is this get driver? When I wrote this common driver class, here you can see that the instance of WebDriver which I created, it's basically a private variable. I cannot access it outside this class. Okay, and why I've kept it private? So that nobody from outside can access it. Okay, cannot change it, cannot update its value. Okay, that's the reason I kept it private. It's one of the oops concept, if you remember, abstraction or data hiding. You're hiding your data from outside world, right? But I need this its access. Okay, I mean, I need to use it but not to modify it. Okay, so if you remember, we had two things, getters and setters. Getter was to get value, setter was to set value. So getting the instance of browser does not change anything. So I wrote one method called get driver. This is a standard getter method. Okay, it's a standard in Java. Actually, it's standard in all programming language. We have something known as getters and setters. This is one way of writing that in Java. Not one way, only way of writing that in Java. So if outside I need this driver instance, then I can call with this method called getDriver. So here in my POM1 style, I needed my WebDriver. So common driver is an instance of common driver class. In that there is a private method called WebDriver. So I called that using getDriver method. Is it clear, Arun? Okay, and another thing, these concepts just by listening you'll not understand or you'll not master. You might understand but you will not master them just by listening. So whatever framework I'm creating, complete it with me. Like just after this class, spend some time and complete this framework with yours yourself. So that will help you in understanding it in a better way. When you'll write yourself, when you'll fail, you'll search for the error, you'll Google around, then you'll learn a lot of things. Okay, I have done it like 7-8 times, that's why I remember it. And same framework I'm using in my project, little complex than this, but yeah, kind of same. Okay, so any questions till now? Anything else? Okay, now before going to POM2 style, let's have a break for 10 minutes. I need to have drink, I need water. So let's have a break for 10 minutes and then we'll start with uh, POM2 style, and then we'll complete page factory. So these two topics I'll complete today for sure. Okay, so see you after 10 minutes. Okay, so in POM2 style, actually this POM2 design pattern, it came up from abstraction. Okay, so the things which you did in here, you defined, like we defined all the web elements as public. Here we'll change all of them as private. All the web elements I'm changing to private, and now they are not accessible outside. Okay, and one more thing, I made all of them private. Why? Because I don't want these things to be visible outside. We just want them to see the implementation. So in this particular scenario, what I'm going to do, I'll write one method, public void, I mean uh, just a minute, search item. So what we are going to do is, in this particular design pattern, all the web elements will make them private, will hide them, and the scenario which we automated here, like the scenario which I wrote here, instead of writing those, I'll be writing inside this only. So this particular class file will not only have the object repository, but it will have all the possible methods which are there on that page. Like I have a method search item, so I'll write public void string, maybe what is that, product, right, and string category. Okay, so I have initial, like I have written here. Now whatever things you needed, to search this particular web element, one more thing, here we'll write like this, how to complete it basically using this particular framework. That's what I want to teach here. So it will be private, then you need access of text box, right? So it will be text box control equal text box, let's say. Then you need access of drop down, so I'll say drop down controls, drop down, and then you need access of, what was the last one, we need access of web element control element. So same thing which we did in the previous main method, now we are doing in search method. Here first of all I have to write into some text box, so I'll say text. Okay, I need to initialize them also, so initialization I'll be doing here. It will be text box equal to a new text box controls, then element equal to new web element controls, and last one is drop down equal to new drop down controls. So in the constructor only I initialize all these things, and now uh, when I'm writing this, so it will be text box dot, uh, method is set text, which is the web element, search box is the web element, and what is your text to set, that is product. Okay, and we'll keep here throws exception. Next will be you have to select from the drop down, so it will be drop down dot select via visible text. Which one? Search drop down, and what is your visible text category? Okay, and then last one will be search button dot click. Sorry, yeah, I have a method like this. Element, just a second. Element dot click, where you have to click search button. Yeah. So here you can see that the search item is also done. Now when I'll create its demo class, in the test section, when I'll create its demo class, demo eBay POM2 style, we'll keep this public static void main checked, and here first of all I will create instance of common driver class. It will be common driver equal to new common driver, and browser I am opening is, let's say, Chrome. Okay, then common driver dot open browser, URL will be http dot www dot ebay.in, and everything we need to put under try catch. So right click, surround with try catch, and then after opening the browser, next step will be we need to create instance of eBay POM2 style. So eBay homepage equal to new eBay POM2 style, and we need to pass the driver instance, right? So for that I'll say common driver dot get driver, and after this I just need to call one method, that is search item, which product you want to search, let's say Apple Watch, and next you want to call, let's say, watches. Category you want to select is watches. Okay, so that's all. That is what you need to write. Now implementation part is all inside. What we are getting is just method name. Okay, so again we have make use of another one of the OOPS concept, that is data hiding or abstraction, right? We are doing a proper abstraction here. We are keeping our methods separate from our classes, right? Like from the actual, so we are hiding the data here. We are only aware of the method or functionality. How it is implemented, we are not sure. We are not worried about that, right? So here when I'll call this, right click, run as Java application, so it will invoke the browser and same scenario will be executed. So you can see it has navigated ebay.in. Okay, so you can see that the scenario was executed. Okay, so that's what POM2 style is. So what we are doing in POM2 is we are not only creating object repository, but we are like object repository is also created and all the possible methods are also written. So outside you just have to call the methods. Okay. Now Parul, you're saying please explain the difference between POM1 and POM2. Yes, I was about to do that. In POM1 and POM2, what is the difference? See, in POM1 we only have the object repository, we have all the list of web elements. So same thing we have here also. Okay, so that benefit that if something is changed at one location, uh, we can changing at one location can be will change at all other location is also valid here in this case also. Okay, if something changes in this search box, you can simply, you just have to change here, rest everywhere it will be changed automatically. And another benefit you're getting is that uh, all your methods are also inside this classes, like whatever is possible on that page will write down all those methods, will list down all the possible methods in here, and when you have to access them you just have to call these methods. Whereas in POM1 style, when you have to call this, okay, uh, you need to access everything one by one. Okay, and your elements are not also private, so you are not following abstraction also here. Okay, now one more thing you can do is even in your POM1 you can make it like POM2. What you can do is instead of having main method, write all the possible methods and then create another class where you'll have main method and you'll just call these methods. So that can also be done. Okay, one of the best benefit you'll get out of this way of doing is that even a manual tester can write, not manual tester, I should use another term, that is if somebody who does not have any knowledge or does not have much experience in programming language, he or she can also write these test cases if my framework is properly available. If all the methods are there, all the class files with their possible methods are already written, then you just have to call, create scripts and call these methods. So we are worried about only the functionality. We have to search item, how it handles, how it search, that is handled here, and that is something uh, which an automation tester will write, whereas this part anyone can write. Okay, any questions here? Okay, and one of the benefit which I wanted to discuss about this segregating Selenium methods is, see, going forward, let's say there can be two possible cases which might occur. One is, let's say a product came in market, maybe a new version of Selenium or some other tool which is again of Java base only, and that has become a hit and everybody is using that. People stop supporting let's say Selenium. Okay, then if you have everything tightly coupled, like everything is there in inside, then it's very difficult to migrate from this tool to other. But if you follow such a pattern, see what is going to happen. Action controls, that means mouse operation, will remain mouse operation only no matter whatever browser you are using, sorry, no matter whatever programming language you're using, right? Alerts like pop-ups, they will remain same, methods will remain same, every alert will be accepted, rejected, will get message or will check whether it is present or not. Similarly, if I talk about actions control, then drag and drop, move an element, right click, double click, all these will remain same. What will change? Change will come the way they will be implemented, right? Only this part will change. There can be some other Java class which will come and replace this. So what I have to change? I'm going to create another common libs with my new new tool. I'll write all these class files and implements these interfaces. These interfaces will make sure that all the methods are implemented and new implementation will be changed. Okay, am I not audible? Hello? Guys, can you hear me? Okay, I guess Jasmeet has issue at his end. Let me ping him. Just a second. Okay. Okay, he'll rejoin. By that time, yeah, I was telling that the part which will change will be this. Not even this part will change. See here, in POM2 style, nowhere I'm only using methods which are written in these classes. So if something has changed in SetText, that will be taken care in textbox class file. I don't have to worry about. Okay, if something is changed in drag and drop, then I don't have to worry about. Everything will remain same. So following this design pattern and this framework, what benefit you're getting? Your code is your Selenium is totally replaceable. Going forward, if new web application is coming, uh, you can directly use this framework, or new tool is coming. Let's say instead of Selenium some other tool came up, and the only thing which will change is this set of class files. Rest, your interfaces will remain same, your actual coding will remain same, the way you call the methods will remain same. Only this set of classes will change. Okay, now is it clear? Any questions here? And this is a good interview discussion as well. Like he might ask you why you are using this kind of framework. So you can tell that going forward, if something is changing or my tool is changing or some method is changing, then I don't have to go and write it everywhere. I just have to come here in my common libs, just change the method at one location, rest everything will work fine. And this is very common thing. Like this happens a lot in your real-time projects. Okay, any questions here? Okay, fine. Then this design pattern is also done. Now we are left with one design pattern, that is enhanced way of writing code. Sorry, enhanced design pattern, that is, sorry, enhanced POM style, that is page factory. Okay, so can you guys continue for 15 more minutes, or should I end it here and I mean take it tomorrow? If you guys can continue, I'll complete the last design pattern. If it's more than enough for today, then we can continue tomorrow as well. Okay, Rupesh, you're saying tomorrow. Okay, mostly you're saying tomorrow. Okay, Parul, you're saying page. What is page factory? So page factory is enhanced way of page object model. There is one limitation with these design pattern. Okay, okay, we have 5 minutes. Let's discuss about the limitation, and then tomorrow we'll see its solution. Okay, so one of the limitation which this design pattern has is, see, on this page, when I defined my web elements, I had this Apple watches. From the drop down I selected watches, and then I went to I clicked on search button. All these web elements were already present when this page was loaded, right? But when I clicked on search button, result came up. and this result came after some action, right? Now if I follow this design pattern, whichever I'm working on, in that case, where it is, yeah, in that case all my web elements are getting initialized in the constructor. Okay, all the web elements are initialized in the constructor. So, and constructor is called in the starting. So the elements which were not present at the time of your page load, they will have null value. Okay, they will have null value, and there is no other way. You have to recall it, and then only a web element will be present. So the limitation is that this POM2 style or POM1 style is beneficial only if your page is static. Okay, if your web page is not static, it is dynamic, just like eBay website or Flipkart website, where on base of certain operation few web elements comes and disappear, then this design pattern fails. In that case, we have something known as enhanced page object model, that is page factory, which we'll discuss tomorrow. Okay, so is the limitation clear? What is it? The thing is, the elements which appears later, they are not identified using this design pattern. For that we have to use enhanced page object model, and that's what actually is being used in market. It's an enhancement of this one, POM2 style. Okay, yeah, so that's all for today. Now your questions, if you have any question, please let me know. Jasmeet, do you have a question? Okay, Jasmeet, you have a question. We have one application in Office which frame changes every login. Example, frame 1 first time login. Okay, fine. It's an interesting thing. Okay, can you do one thing, like can you just send me the screenshot of multiple frames, like for first login, for second login, for third login, so that I'll try to identify it in a better way, because just with this statement I won't be able to help you. Just give me the screenshot of the frame, like iframe and the internal things. I'll try to find out how to handle it. Sure, Jasmeet, no problem. Okay, any other questions? Anyone? Rupesh, you have a question. For test data, we will use Excel sheet or data provider in our framework. Actually, we will use Excel sheet, read it through data providers. So in a way, we'll be using both. Okay. We'll keep our data in Excel sheet. Okay, and write in data provider, we'll write the logic to read from Excel sheet, and then we'll execute our code using those data.